Welcome to Conquering DP, Depersonalization, DR, Derealization, and defining these, quote, enemies. In this series, we're going to examine what DPDR actually is and how it's described by people that have it, how it is classified by the powers that be, and this is important because we need to define depersonalization and derealization because these disorders can have a significant impact on a person's ability to function in everyday life. Now, it's also important to explain to you how people with these disorders experience them so you can better understand what they're going through, and this might ring some bells for you and your loved one. And lastly, classification of depersonalization is important so that you can understand how the disorder fits in the psychiatric and the therapeutic world and how practitioners that you might visit or your loved ones might visit would go about developing an effective treatment for it. So what is DPDR? Well, depersonalization derealization disorder is a mental disorder, and what it means is that you have persistent and or recurrent feelings of DP or DR. So persistent means they're just going on and on and on, and or they're recurrent. That means they come and go. So some people will have just persistent, where it's just going on and on and on, and some people will have recurrent, where the DP will come in for, say, a month, and then it will disappear, and then it'll come back, and then it disappears. Or sometimes it goes back and forth between this sort of persistency where it's just going on and on, it stops, and then it starts up again, back and forth between these long stretches and then shorter stretches where it blinks in, blinks out. So some therapists might give you the label of DPDR, or they might say DPD, which is depersonalization disorder. Yet to date, DP and DR, they both remain highly misdiagnosed and highly misunderstood disorders. In fact, these DPDR, DP, they often manifest symptoms so bizarre that you might be hesitant to describe them to your doctor or your therapist. And what's the fear that most people come to? They think, well, if I tell my doctor what I'm going through, they might put me in a psych ward. This is a very real fear for a lot of DPers. A lot of clients come to me, they said, I was scared to bring this up, maybe not with me necessarily because they know what I'm all about, but they say I was fearful of bringing this up with my doctor or my psychiatrist because they thought, oh, well, they're just going to give me more medications, they're going to send me to the loony bin. But it's important to realize that DP is not like that at all. You're not going crazy. It has nothing to do with going crazy. And that sort of level of mental disorder, when we talk about, quote, going crazy, we're talking schizophrenia, we're talking very high level, or psychosis even. These are very high level disorders. DP is not in that category, and it doesn't lead to those categories. Let me just give you a quote from Emile. And this quote says, madness means the incapacity for self-judgment and self-control. Whereas, it seems to me that my mental transformations are but philosophical experiences. And that's exactly when I think of DP, is that DPers are not lacking in self-judgment. And they're certainly not lacking in self-control. That, when we're talking about psychosis, we're talking about schizophrenia. Yeah, that's where those are heading, but not DP. I hope you found this podcast helpful. And if you or someone you know suffers from DP or DR, please share this with them or go over this again or join me for the next podcast that will be coming up. This channel will be devoted to producing a series of engaging and very tight content about DP and DR. In my next podcast or video, I'll be sharing how my clients have described their experiences with this condition, as well as other sufferers who have described this condition. I hope you have enjoyed this premiere episode on Conquer Depersonalization. If you or someone you know is struggling with depersonalization, please reach out for help. There are so many resources out there available. Remember, you are not alone, and DP can be conquered.